It's Candace and Terry, and we're here with the guest, Tayloria. So this is the show 123 Conversations, and that's one topic, two hosts, and we ask three questions around that topic, and we've branched out or doing something a bit different, and that we enjoy our conversations, but we want to bring in other people who share brilliant things with us as well. And so our very first guest on our show is Tayloria Grant. So I've known Tayloria for a while. She's a freaking badass, phenomenal. When I met her, she was taking people to Italy for different, and that's a part of her business, which I'll read the bio here. Tayloria is the founder of One Full Life International, a personal branding and content marketing company where she teaches purpose-driven entrepreneurs and leaders how to brand themselves as go-to experts with authentic content while living fully. And one of the things I can personally say about Tayloria is she lives her mission, and she was taking people. I don't know if it's just women. Is it just women that you work with, Tayloria,
yes,
or is it everyone?
Women. That's really my calling, is female entrepreneurs and professionals.
Yeah, like all over Italy, and teaching them these things, and you just walk your talk. And I also know Tayloria to be very compassionate and heart-centered, so it's super exciting to have you as a guest with us today. And I love this topic. So Tayloria came to us with wanting to talk about, hey, it's 2020 is still not over yet, which is a double-edged sword. Like it won't end. But because it hasn't ended, there's still time for us to refocus our business for success. So Tayloria, on this topic of, hey, we still have time to like turn things around and like pivot for 2020. My first question for you is, how have you had to refocus your business for success this year?
Yes, 2020 has been a year, to say the least. So many uncertainties, but as entrepreneurs, really there's always uncertainty. I think we have sometimes a false sense of comfort. And so I will say, first of all, I just went through probably a little bit of a meltdown, but I spent some time getting my mindset right. That was a big piece of, I think, my initial, because I did have anxiety, I did have fears, but I realized also that those thoughts were keeping me stuck. I wasn't feeling safe, and basically I had to push through that to start to feel the fear. What really, one part that really helped me was my clients and my friends and my family, because I acknowledged what was happening. I had to come to terms that all these things were happening from the pandemic, and they were experiencing things. So that was one of the first things, is like gaining clarity about, what is actually going on? What do I need to do? But by gaining that clarity, I was able to take like control of the situation. I always like to say, you can't control if a storm is coming, but you can control if you prepare for it. You can't control what someone else does, but you can control, how you react. So that was a big part of me refocusing my business, is taking some time, acknowledging the situation, getting some clarity, seeing how it was affecting the people around me. And then it was starting to allow me to move forward.
Right. And Candace, I think you and I talked about that just last week on our last segment. We were talking, and I even quoted like Ian Van Zandt, and she says, you have to feel, deal, and then you can start to heal. So
I like that.
Have to acknowledge where we are, and then really get clear around what next steps we need to take. And it's scary, and it's so super uncomfortable. And I think as entrepreneurs, it's even more. You feel fragile, right? So thank God we have each other. Thank God we have resources. We have friends and family. Not everybody has that, and we've talked about that as well. So being a part of organizations like FemCity, and I believe, Tayloria, you're part of Polka Dots. Is that the name of the group? Or
previously, but I'm a member of FemCity, and just having that circle of women, of course, those relationships don't stop. And so I've been very fortunate to have many people in my life who, it's not coincidence that our paths have crossed, but we've come together to support each other. And the two of you, which is, again, I'm just so thankful and grateful for those type of friendships and connections.
It works both ways. Three ways. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really curious when you're talking about, you got to feel it. What does that look like for you, feeling the fear or the uncertainty? What's the process of even feeling it? Because a lot of times it can just seem so overwhelming. So what's your process for that?
It can be, I think, really overwhelming. When I say for me, I think acknowledging that first, because I think sometimes with society, we're told like if fear is bad.
Right.
But I'm very, I think my experience too is being, when I say fortunate, is how do you move forward with change? So for me, it is saying, yeah, like if I'm feeling scared, why am I feeling scared? Even with my business, instead of saying, I don't want my business to fail, even realizing to say, what if my business fails? If my business fails, what am I going to do? That's okay. So that was part of my process of, particularly with a lot of my clients, saying they were undergoing things such as, I'm thinking of one of my clients, his wife lost her job. Another entrepreneur, she told me all of my clients have left, have left. So acknowledging that fear is there, feeling it, those emotions are real, it's okay, but not staying in it, not giving up. There was a meme, I love Oprah Winfrey, and it was like 2020 do-over, like you get a do-over, you get a do-over, and we don't get a do-over. So it would be nice, like a new car, a do-over for 2020. But for me, it was, I think, actually saying some of those questions, like, I often say, what is the worst that can happen? And when we realize what really is the worst, it's not that bad if we're willing to acknowledge it and start to find solutions. So that's probably the next piece is how do you move forward once you've acknowledged it?
Right.
Right.
Can I ask a question? Do you have like practices in place? Do you, prayer, meditation,
Yes.
anything like that? Because to help you kind of get like beyond that emotion, and then like how do you break through? What's your practice?
We talked about our circle already, which is huge for me, but I'm a big believer in practices and mindset. When I even left corporate America, I didn't really realize my self-esteem, what had come low, I think going through divorce, all of these things, but it's been huge. And so it's funny because I was telling a client from Russia, I don't speak Russian, like a few words, Poka, Spasibo, but the acronym I developed actually is Privet, which is hello. But from that, I pray and meditate, the P. I read and journal. The I is intention and gratitude. And the V is visualization. The E is exercise. I sometimes am challenged doing that fully, but just getting to move. And then lastly, I do tea and water. And so for me, I probably like a little bit of that ritual, but in the midst of this uncertainty, for me, it also helped to have like a symbol of something of comfort. And my morning routine has been something before the pandemic, before a lot of the things that have happened, that gave me like a way to ground myself. And so I do all of those using different apps. I love Insight Timer for meditations, but it really does help to ground me and to move forward and to refocus, to have that clarity and focus. I'm curious, what about you two?
Candace, I'll let you go first.
Recently, I would say the past couple weeks, I've been having to go old school meditation and for long periods of time in order to stay grounded.
Yes.
And also it's really important for me to be outside in the sun, and it's starting to get cold, but then warm, but then snowing, and then warm. So, but
True.
Even if it's just being in the window and feeling the sunlight against my skin and just like sitting in stillness, that's become a priority and a must. And then moving my body with the walking is a priority.
It's so
huge.
So huge. The other thing I just wanted to interject as well, we're talking about morning routines. For me, I felt like that was something these last maybe few years that I've gotten a routine. I've had to adjust. I mean, and then depending on the days, but also an evening routine. Um, Acknowledging at the end of the day, I usually have my top three. I also like to acknowledge what have I accomplished. That intention for me has also evolved. I used to do affirmations. It's not, I think, bad. But for me, I found when I started to use intentions and say, for instance, today I'm going to exhibit love, every single action that I do, I incorporate that and I strive to incorporate and I visualize it. And at the end of the day, it still is like celebrating those wins. So when we talk about
Oh,
2020, what has still went well?
Right.
Many times we want to focus on what didn't.
Right.
But there have been some beautiful moments that have still happened in the midst of uncertainty. And so that is something that has been just very helpful for me, is to take some time in the evening, whatever that ritual may be, whether you want to have some tea or write down, what you've accomplished, but, spend some time to celebrating that you are still moving forward with your business and with your life and with your goals.
Right. Just basic gratitude,
It's
for
huge.
our own health, the health of our animals, if we have animals, our
Yes.
children, our family, our friends. And just really, as you
right.
start going down that list, it's always, not always for everybody, but it can be so much longer on most days,
Yes.
um, than not, of things to be really super thankful for. The clean air that we get to breathe,
So
the
much.
clean water that we get to drink, the fact that we can get into a nice warm shower, a nice warm bath. Yeah, there's so much to just appreciate about this life that we have. And so I think that's a really important point that you make, is just staying focused on the good things. I mean, there's going to be things, we all have, it's life and it can be super
Right.
challenging, but really being intentional about where we put those thoughts.
So that
'Cause
intention
we have
is
a
so
choice.
key.
We're going to go over here and just
Right.
be in the toilet and be sad, or we can look over here and look at
Right.
the sunshine and, you know,
And a lot of times it's both. But
Hmm.
to Tayloria's point and your point, Terry, we get everything. It's not just 100% bad days or 100% good days.
Yes.
It's a mix. But we're kind of trained to just only look at the bad things and
right,
keep trying to fix and solve and worry, as opposed to, oh, and this really great thing happened as well.
right.
So our second official question
All right.
after all that was, what's been your biggest lesson in how you've refocused for 2020? What's been your biggest lesson in feeling the fear and doing it anyway, and like being present with all your rituals? What's been the biggest
Yes.
lesson for you?
I think two things that have happened with the uncertainty is the ability to be able to gather some more information and facts to understand what is really going on in the world, what's going on with my friends and my clients and family. But also it's allowed me to look for opportunities.
Right,
Uncertainty can create lots of opportunities, and particularly as businesses become anxious or indecisive or complacent, it's like these new opportunities are arising each and every moment and change is happening. But if we're not being aware, if we're not really being clear, what do we want? What do our clients need? And what do we want in life? I like to say, I mean, for me, it's about the impact. It's about really making a difference in this world. I mean, money is great, but even if I was to tell someone tomorrow, what if you won $1 million? But if I started putting some of these different limits, we start to see it's not really the money that people are seeking.
mhm,
It's these other things that come up. Travel, for instance, always comes up. But with that, these things are possible in the midst of adversity. So moving past that fear allows us to take action. It allows us to start to see what else is out there and to think outside of the box.
right. No, I think that's hence the the 1, 2, 3 conversations. Right. That's one of the things that,
Yeah.
that came about. Candace and I walk a lot and we talk on the phone a lot when I'm walking or when she's
Yes.
walking. And it's like, God, that was so juicy, Candace. You just shared such great information with me. I just so wish other people could hear this. And she goes, well, you helped me just as much. And I'm like, well, maybe we should just try this and see how it goes. So we're just letting it unfold organically. But I can't help but think that more of us are in the same boat than not. And yeah, so we have to keep our eyes open for new opportunities and saying yes, like say yes and see what happens. Unless it's a big hell no, say yes and just see if it, and look at you, Tayloria, you've got more, I know your background is television and you've done on air, things before. And I know in conversation I've said to you, oh my gosh, you would just be so amazing to help so many other people right now do video. I could use some help from you with coaching, and I suspect I'm not the only one. So, and you're like, well, that is interesting because this is what I used to do, but it's just been a hot minute since I've done all that. So,
and it's so true. I think that's what this year also gives us the opportunity to do. I work a lot with pulling out and helping uncover those gifts, things that we often don't look at, or we think of them very literally. So when you mentioned that to me, I did chuckle because all of them are used collectively, very holistically. I was telling a client the other day, we laughed, I said, many people don't know, when I first went to college, I thought I wanted to be an anchor woman, a journalist. And I've been a teacher, like all of these things, they haven't left. It's just the way that we are doing them. And so I do want to encourage entrepreneurs now, as they're looking to refocus, to revisit, what are your gifts? What are your talents? What are your strengths? Because ultimately that is what makes you unique, and that is what your clients need. I haven't maybe fully pivoted, but from this, being able to recognize the things that clients say, if I'm supportive, what I have this background with public relations and marketing, that I was able to also acknowledge, don't be afraid of those. Don't shy back and say or belittle yourself, that these are things that people need. And so when I had clients coming, at first it was a little scary because every session someone was crying.
Oh God.
And I thought, oh no. But back to even my spiritual background, teaching, ministering, I was able to lend that comfort, and we were able to move past and see, what do you need and what are the resources you need now? So your intuition is already sharing with you what you need and how to move forward. Is moving past that fear to do it, instead of listening to those limited beliefs and self-doubt to say, who am I to talk about that imposter syndrome, or what will people say? But no, just moving forward.
I love that. That's a great step. And I just want to point back to, there's so many like gold nuggets here. And one of the things that stands out to me is getting information. And I find if people are really facing that fear and going down the spiral of things are going to get worse, there's nothing I can do, it's one of the ways to get more information is to be connecting to people. So have you reached out to past clients, or have you reached out to friends? What are their challenges and how can you help them? Are you in a space to be able to help them right now? Right now, you might not be able to do anything. So I also like when you said, like, there's no judgment against self. It's like, are you really listening? What kinds of information are you getting? And I find that the more people don't ask or talk to others, the more that loud fear voice gets, like the louder it gets, I should say. And then it gets harder, and it just, everything you see and everything you hear just validates what the fear is telling you, as opposed to if you had a conversation with someone, it might open your eyes to, oh, they're telling me what they need, as opposed to having to put the pressure on, I have to figure it out and people aren't going to buy and no one really cares. And I'm not, it's like, well, what is it that you're hearing and experiencing? It's like opening up instead of having to figure it out all on your own. That's a vital part of getting information. And then I also just really resonated with that next step for anyone who wants to like turn 2020 around. What you said is brilliant. Like all the nuggets, it's more than one thing that you gave. So thank you so much. Is there anything else? What I want to ask, because we need to make our interviews an hour, because I'm like, wait a minute. So you've done ministering and you worked in corporate and you're an entrepreneur, you take people all over the world. It's like sometimes when Terry talks to me and it's like, oh yeah, back when I was a cop and then I worked at the liquor store and then I had this job
like,
and that job.
You find out
it's
all
like,
these things.
Thanks for
right, like who are you people? Well,
Yes.
it's true.
When I hit the
Yeah.
guy with the baseball bat, you know, just like, thanks.
Yeah, and Terry, and like both of you guys just slip that in the conversation and keep going. And I'm like, wait. Like, I know we're here talking about this, but what with the bat in the liquor store? And like, wait, what with ministering? And what is that? Like, so we'll have to have you back again, because I really want to know what all that was about and how long you did it and all that stuff.
Well, thanks.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
you know, I appreciate.
yeah.
One thing, Candace, you mentioned too, I think you really hit the nail on the head, is about listening to our clients, listening to those people, you know, really that are around us. In my world, I often see people trying to tell their audience what they need. And it's that when you're doing that, you're not going to sell products. They know what they need in general, and the solutions that are available to them. But instead, it's like when you begin to work with them to create and to deliver those solutions, you really can create a loyal following that wants for you to succeed, but ultimately you are going to help them with their desires and give them a solution, and take action. So I think it's so key to connect.
And be
I love it.
You know, do our best to listen.
Right.
It is.
Right. Yeah. Well, cool. So how do people find you, Tayloria, if they want to work with you or they want more information about you?
Yes. And so hopefully, I mean, if a femme is watching it, the easiest, don't hesitate to contact me just straight through Facebook. You don't have to be as formal. My business page is One Full Life. And then I love Instagram as well. If you can spell my name and remember Tayloria Grant, you also can find me through those mediums, but would love to connect through FemCity, as well as through Instagram or Facebook. One Full Life, Tayloria Grant.
And
I love it
too. It's so you. It's so you. And it's everything you embody and who you are, and just the bright light that you bring. I was so happy when you decided to join FEMS. I was like, oh, yay.
Well, I said you too.
More time with her. So this is great.
I've seen you live it. Back to living and transformation. You know, the last thing I guess I would just encourage, you know, people listening, entrepreneurs, professionals, back to refocusing and transformation, is to start taking some small steps today. You don't have to do something really big, but go ahead and make some decision and take some actions, because those small things are going to move you through the fear, and is going to help you have crystal clear clarity.
Right. No, that was perfect. That was kind of our third question that you asked. So thank you. That was really, it's so important. All that's so important. So
Right on. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You betcha. We'll have you back again for sure. You all have been watching 123 Conversations, and we hope that you have a great day.
Wait, Candace, don't go yet.
Oh.
How can people find you?
How can people find me?
She forgot last time. We can't forget.
Right. Well, you can find me here, as Tayloria said, if you're watching us on Facebook or we're posting. If you're not watching us on Facebook, I'm at CandaceThomasIntuitive.com. And I'm also on Instagram at CandaceIntuitive. And how do we find you, Terry?
You can find me through FemCity on the main page of, you know, members. And you can also find me FemCity Albuquerque. LinkedIn, Terry, Terri, last name Dean, Dean. And yeah, you'll see my smiling face in front of an empty theater. So, or theater chairs, I think. But yeah, that's it. But Tayloria, thank you a ton. And just like Candace said, yes, we want you back again and again and again and again. So
well, thanks for what you're doing. I've loved the different topics, and I'm looking forward to hearing your wisdom as well as other entrepreneurs moving forward.
We appreciate you. You're a gem. Okay. Thanks, ladies.
Yeah,
have a great week. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.